Right, Jace.
Hi, Al, you all right?
Yeah. How's your week been?
Pretty good, actually. It's done by this week. And it was like yesterday talking to you.
Yeah, I know, yeah. So
Yeah,
how's your wife getting on? Is she okay?
Yeah, she's doing okay. She's I think she's gotten to get a bit bored and a bit sort of feeling a bit sorry for herself now because obviously she's still in a sling and that. But yeah, she's doing okay.
She drives. Does she drive?
Well, she does, but she's had to sawn the car, put it off road for a bit.
And with the lack, it might be a good time now not to be able to drive with the fuel shortage.
Right.
Anyway.
Lack of fuel availability. Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, another week in the footy. So there was a full domestic program midweek last week. Also the European stuff. So looking a bit dim at the moment for Cheltenham. They lost 5-0 at Sunderland. Admittedly, Sunderland second, I think, in the league, and they'd lost 2-0 a few days earlier at Wigan, who happened to be first. So a couple of difficult fixtures there, but followed up by a home defeat to Rotherham. No goals for either. That's 3 games, no goals scored, and 9 goals conceded. Bit of a reality check, or is it just the injury situation has dictated that? What do you reckon?
Well, you probably saw I predicted pain at Sunderland because we've got, I think, the backbone of the team ripped out at the moment, with Boyle out and Callum Wright out, and nobody firing up front. At the start of the season, there were people raving Andy Williams. I don't think he's that level, to be honest. Yeah, I guess it is a bit bleak at the moment. Mike Duff doesn't seem to be too concerned about it. I think we've been in this situation before. I think we're definitely punching above our weight in that league, and I think that if we stay up, I think it will be a massive achievement, possibly biggest achievement ever if we stay up with the squad that we've got.
Yeah. So I mean, with the start we had, it didn't look as bad as what it looks at the moment. So I'm just looking. Rotherham are actually 4th in the league.
Yeah, they're going to be up there challenging. But if you look at what Sunderland did to us, like, yeah, I know it was at Sunderland and all that stuff. I get that. Sunderland beat us 5-0, and then Sunderland travelled down to Portsmouth and got beat 4-0 by Portsmouth. We were due to play Portsmouth this weekend. So, on paper, that's a 9-0, isn't it? Right? On paper. I mean, I know it never works like that.
Yeah.
But on paper, that's a 9-0 whopping by Portsmouth against them. So the international break, which we were joking about, has actually done us a favour because Portsmouth have got international call-ups.
Yeah, all I can say is thank God for that.
Yeah, exactly.
So how long Boyle and Callum? I know Callum Wright's a long-term one. What about Will Boyle?
I don't know. It's all gone a bit quiet. A bit worrying, really, because there were a lot of clubs chasing him last season as well. I do wonder if it's maybe not an injury and maybe he could be on his way, sort of thing. But
yeah, but I mean, the window's closed, isn't it? Can anybody sign him? And
mate, I don't think that means anything these days. I really don't. I think money talks. Money talks in all aspects of football, particularly the whole Ben Tozer thing.
Yeah,
I mean, it needn't go any further than that, really.
Yeah, I'm just wondering whether that set the tone. Just him leaving is set the club off on a bad footing. For the season.
Which I said it would, but at the end of the day, they couldn't stop him from going. He wanted to go. That was it. And I do wonder if there was more to it than money. I've said that before, and I got shot down in flames for it by a lot of Cheltenham fans, saying, "What would you do in that situation?" Well, yeah, probably I would have done, but I think there's more to it than money. I think, personally, I think there's not a lot of harmony at the moment. Back room, what with Bookie having gone and all that kind of stuff. I think all those things, they add up. All those little things, they all add up, and it ends up leaving a nasty taste.
Yeah.
In the mouth with a lot of players and a lot of backroom staff and what have you.
Yeah.
And I know it's got to be Duff's way or no way. But I'm not sure that doesn't rub people up the wrong way, to be honest. And yeah. You know me, nobody loves Cheltenham Town more than I do. But at the moment, I'm feeling a little bit, what's the word I'm looking for? I don't necessarily trust everything that comes out in statements from that club at the moment. I don't know. There's just something I just can't put my finger on. And I just hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong.
Yeah, actually, I'm just thinking back to Man City in the bad old days. You know, they let go a lot of sort of club legends, if you like, people like Joe Corrigan and all that. You know, and they've been brought back into the fray in recent times. But people like that, they're part of the fabric of the club. You know, so.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised Russell Milton's still there, actually, to be honest. I thought, after getting rid of Bob Bloomer, and then I think Jamie Victory then went shortly after that from the youth setup. Bruffy was around and he then went. Yeah. And then Neil Howarth, I think Neil Howarth went before that lot, but he went to Singlefoot.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean...
Yeah, I mean, you got to look on the other side. I mean, maybe Michael Duff's right. I mean, maybe he felt they were holding Cheltenham back. I mean, there's one thing with loyalty, but then if people are not up to the standard that you want to reach, then
yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I think Duffy's done a great job in getting Cheltenham to where they are now, and obviously a near miss last year with the playoffs, or the previous season rather.
Yeah,
the playoffs, and that excellent cup run and all the rest of it. Yeah. I think he's done a fantastic job. But every manager has got his limit and he's got his pinnacle and all that kind of stuff. And I think that's why Steve Cottrell went as early as he did. Because I mean, if you think Cottrell could have potentially taken Cheltenham even higher. Potentially, we'll never know.
Yeah, you look at his record. You got to think it might have been possible.
Yeah, might have been possible. But then, if you also look at his record of what happened to him at all the other clubs that he went to after Cheltenham, he hadn't really started any fires, has he?
Well, I think didn't he get Bristol out of the League One and take them up into the Championship?
Yeah, he did. Bristol was probably his best, I think. But he did nothing at Birmingham, which is a big club. He did nothing at Portsmouth. They hate him here at Portsmouth. I don't know why, but they do.
Yeah, I think I saw a few other places they hated him as well. So was it maybe Stoke? It could have been Stoke, I think.
Sunderland. He was at Sunderland, wasn't he, for a bit?
Yeah, but I think that's Championship level, isn't it? He seems to have reached his League One seems to be his ceiling. Anything above.
You're right, and I'm thinking this might be the same sort of thing with Mike Duff, in as much as I personally, whatever happens to Cheltenham, whether they stay up or whether they don't stay up or whether they finish mid-table, whatever, I don't see him being at Cheltenham until the end of this season. Right? If he goes somewhere else, then, as they say, that the proof will be in the pudding, then, won't it? If he goes somewhere else and he makes a success of it, great. I think if Burnley, for example, if Burnley sacked Sean Dyche, I think he'd be straight in Burnley. I think he'd be straight in there.
Yeah, I don't think he'll be taken over from Sean Dyche myself. So, although I know Burnley haven't started off that well.
No, I don't see. Talking about managers and dismissals, what do you think about Watford?
Yeah, I mean, well, they got rid of the guy after 10 months, but that's those owners, isn't it? The Italian guys, I can't remember their names now. Their brothers on it, but they've got a record of doing that. They don't just look at the results. They're looking at training and all that. they analyze how hard the players are training and all that kind of stuff. So any let up on stuff like that, and the manager's out the door. So they did it with a previous manager. There've been quite a few, so I can't remember who it was, to be honest. But
there have been a few, yeah. It's like a revolving door, isn't it?
yeah. So that they so in Italy they are. Can't remember now. Do they own Udinese? So, yeah. But they do the same thing at Udinese. So, and you got to say, I mean, Watford haven't done that badly and under that model, to be honest. It's like Abramovich at Chelsea, bit of a revolving door there as well. But you got to say that they are there or thereabouts most years. So
they tweeted earlier that they've appointed Ranieri.
Yeah.
And somebody says, anybody got any tips for Ranieri? And I went, yeah, rent, don't buy. Because you ain't going to be in Watford long.
That's right, yeah. Yeah, I mean, he's a bit of a journeyman, isn't he? I mean, so I saw he was managing a team in Italy. I can't remember which one it was. But he's a bit of a journeyman, isn't he? I mean, it seems to be a bit hit and miss. Of course, they won the title with with Leicester, and then he was out the door, wasn't he? The following season, was it?
Yeah.
So I don't know why that was. Why did they hit it off for the one season and not the next? So
well, I think they sold players like Mahrez, didn't they, and stuff. So
yeah, Kante did, yeah, Kante. So yeah, I don't get a vibe about this appointment, to be honest. He might be there for a bit, but I don't see that as long term myself.
No, that's what I said. Rent, don't buy.
Well, I mean, maybe Watford will be happy to stay in the division, but no messing about. The owners obviously said, "Oh, we could be in for a struggle here this season." They didn't mess about. They just sorted it out straight away.
My granddad would have said, "Don't buy any slippers." You ain't going to get that comfy. That's what he would have said.
Is that the granddad that I met, or was it your other granddad?
Oh, it's the one you met. Jeez.
All those pithy sayings, yeah.
I know, yeah.
Yeah. So
I suppose you were screaming for Milner to be sent off yesterday, were you?
When I saw it, I was thinking that referee, he's not going to give it. Portin, he's another one of those career refs, in my opinion. He's doing what's best for his career, not what's best for the football game. So I thought the first one in the first half.
I didn't see the first half. I missed it.
Yeah, the first half, there was another one. I don't think it was a penalty, but Milner clipped Foden when Foden was in.
Right.
Foden went down and then he tried to get up and then he realized he couldn't get the ball, so he just went down again. But they didn't, or they had a VAR. We were told, the commentator said they'd had a VAR and there was nothing to see there. But that's the other thing about the TV companies. They pick and choose which angles they're going to show. But anyway, there was one angle which showed, and you got to guess if it's VAR, they should be able to see every angle that's available. And Milner definitely clipped Foden, and he was the last man.
Yeah, I've got to say, I was surprised as also that there wasn't a VAR check, or if there was, we weren't told about it, for City's second goal, because the ball out to Foden on the left, Foden looked about 3 weeks offside to me.
Well, no, actually, I'm surprised. Seems like you missed that. So I thought Foden was okay from the angles that I saw, but the one on that
Sterling on his knees.
That's the one.
The one, I didn't miss it at all.
Yeah, he was down on the floor, but he did stay down, to be honest. And there was another Liverpool defender in that vicinity, might have been behind him, but it was worth looking at it again.
It was the guy. It was Fabinho who actually tried to. he tried to get to it and he couldn't because Sterling was in his way, and it ended up coming off his shoulder and going past Becker.
Yeah, I thought that was one worth looking at, but nobody mentioned it. Thank God, you know.
But nobody's going to tell me that Sterling wasn't interfering with play there.
Yeah, but it was but he wasn't trying to interfere with play. But although that you might say that's besides the point. But
Martin Tyler said he was trying to make himself invisible. That was Martin Tyler's exact word. That was his exact words, right? Oh, Jesus, that guy, he kisses City's ass so much.
Oh, you got to be joking. I mean, if you told a City fan that Martin Tyler kisses City's ass, you would get a lot of flack about that. That is absolutely not true. He's been horrendous. I think you're just being hoodwinked by the fact he was the commentator on that Aguero goal in 2012.
No, I'm not. I'm not at all. I'm just saying, you know, okay, yeah, I agree with what you're saying, that when City are playing anybody else other than Liverpool, he doesn't kiss their ass. But when they're playing Liverpool, he kisses their ass. And I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's because he's got Gary Neville next to him feeling him up or something. But, you know, because Neville hates Liverpool, as we know. But, oh, geez, I can't bear it. I have to turn it down.
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, some of the stuff he says about City, he's obviously often working on behalf of United, it seems to me, in that job.
Yeah, I think you're right.
Yeah, let's just leave that City game for a bit. We'll come back to it. So they just stay on those European games last week. So United got the late winner, Ronaldo. So I just avoided reading the media for the next day or so because you knew what it was going to be saying. So, but yeah, Liverpool went and did a Liverpool 5-1 in Porto?
Yep.
Yeah, on the quiet, Liverpool have been very impressive, in my opinion. You didn't hold out much hope, but I think they've started really solidly. Man City lost in Paris, but I mean, it's not that much surprise. But from what I saw,
Bonnie Tyler, wasn't it?
Sorry?
Bonnie Tyler. Lost in France, mate.
Yeah, that's right, yeah. But from what I saw, they played.
I actually said to my mate on Facebook, I said, Man City have just done a Bonnie Tyler. And he went, what? I said, they lost in France.
Yeah, but it was more like a total eclipse of the heart, to be honest, because they went. I thought they gave a good account of themselves, but yeah, I mean, it's not nothing too worried to be about. Nothing to be too worried about losing 2-0 to PSG with Messi and Neymar and Mbappe. But
you called it, though. You called it. Messi would score.
Yeah, well, I did. Yeah, his first goal. It's always somebody. You know, a team haven't won for 20 games. They're playing City. You know they're going to win. You know, I remember always used to happen. Player hasn't scored for so long. City are the team to accommodate you. You know. But
I think you're on a bit of a downer where it comes to City like that, because I think personally, I think you've been spoilt for riches over the last few years.
Yeah. I just think it's the swan song to my life, to be honest. You know, for somebody, I mean, Cheltenham, Cheltenham have given me a lot of pleasure as well. But on the City front, it was pretty bleak for a while. But God is obviously looking down on me. Has been looking down on me the last 13 years. So yeah, it's been really good. But yeah, and also with Guardiola being the manager, I mean, it's not going to get any better, to be honest, than what it is at the moment. It's as good as it gets, to be honest. So, yeah, it'd be nice to win the Champions League, but just be competitive in every competition, season after season, is fantastic.
For me, I mean, it's the other way around. Obviously, you know, Liverpool are on the way back up with Klopp.
Yeah.
And it probably won't get much better for Liverpool.
Yeah.
In terms of Klopp. But I remember growing up, you know, every year Liverpool would win a trophy.
Yeah.
It was more often than not, you know, league title, which obviously didn't seem to have as much. It wasn't the be all and end all winning the league like it seems to be these days. I don't know what that was about. But anyway, yeah, they used to win every year, year after year. If they didn't win the league, they'd win, the European Cup, or they'd win the League Cup or Milk Cup or whatever it was. And I just got a bit complacent with it, to be honest. And then all of a sudden, they didn't win anything for bloody years, and kind of almost basked in the past glories, kind of thing. And I was wondering, is it ever going to come again? But yeah, you're right. Cheltenham give me a lot of pleasure as well. But yeah, it's kind of gone the other way. But and what with Liverpool winning the Premier a couple of years ago, I thought that might have been a one-off flash in the pan. But I think they are going to be contenders this year. I'm still not sure about their defence.
Is City's defence or Liverpool's defence?
Liverpool's defence. I'm not sure. I'm not sure they've got a title-winning defence, to be honest.
But Matty, I mean, didn't they get him for nothing or something, or just 10 pence or something? What?
Yeah, something like that. Free in a bag of crisps, wasn't it?
Something like that. Yeah. So in that City game, I thought City showed their maturity against Liverpool as well, and Chelsea. Even though they had some difficult moments, in the old days, they might have been rattled, but they just kept going. And even though they lost on another day, they might have got something out of the game. There was that one of those frustrating moments when you're waiting. You're just waiting for the ball to go over the line. There was that one, was it Mahrez? He hit it against the bar, and then Bernardo. So he's standing on the line, basically. He only has to get...
It swings around a bit. I mean, Fabinho at the other end had that one that fell to him at the back stick, and I could have put my hat and coat on that and stuck that in, but he didn't. And you got to credit the City defender, whatever his name was,
Rodri. Yeah, Rodri. It was.
Yeah, you got to credit him. He didn't stand around waiting to admire it going into the back of the net.
I think that was one of those Edison moments where City have got back into the game, and I think that's one of his flaws, where that's.
I was shouting at the telly because Liverpool. I mean, that Salah goal was brilliant, and they got themselves back in front. And I'm screaming at them to play basic football, right? If they had played basic football and kept possession of the ball, if you got the ball, the other team can't score. That's what I always used to say when I used to coach kids. If you've got the ball, the other team can't score.
Yeah.
Don't give it away.
Well, that's not strictly true. If you can score an own goal, which
you know what I mean, though, right?
Which City nearly did. Did you see that? Oh, you didn't see the first half. I think it was in the first half. Yeah. And who was it? Diaz. It might have been Diaz. He was standing on the goal line to the right of the goal. And the Liverpool strikers were pressurizing the City players really high up. And Edison was basically standing on the goal line between the goalposts. And Diaz plays it across. I mean, it's running along, you're talking virtually on the goal line, and you're thinking, oh my God, that only has to bobble, and it's going to do. Who was that England goalie who was in goal? It went over. It was the guy that used to play for Leeds, Tottenham. Yeah. Can't remember his name though.
That's because he was insignificant. What the hell was his name? But he let that goal in against USA, wasn't it?
Yeah, I can just see that's going to happen one of these days. City will be doing that, and it will bobble over his foot. But I think I accept that because on the whole, it generally works out. Yeah. So Chelsea lost again. They lost to City. They lost to Juventus. They losing a bit of impetus. Everybody was saying with Lukaku in the team, they're going to be very difficult to stop. But when I saw Lukaku against City for Chelsea, I thought, well, this is exactly the same Lukaku that played for Manchester United. So has everybody kind of been hoodwinked by what he did in Italy? I mean, it's happened before. Players who look good in Italy haven't always, not always the case, but haven't always produced it in England because it's a different kind of football.
You see, I have a theory. I've got a theory, and I think this is the great thing about the English football season in whatever division, more so in the Premier League. I think if you think of the way our season pans out, so it starts sort of end of August, well, nearer to July now, isn't it? But end of August, September, you've got lovely weather.
Yeah.
Usually.
Yeah.
Lovely. When the October, late September, early October games start kicking in, some of these players from warmer climates, should I say, I used to have a games teacher, believe it or not, his name was Mr. Bat. What a great name for a games teacher, right? Mr. Bat, brilliant. He always used to say, when we went back after the summer break, and like we'd play like inter-house matches and games matches and stuff like that, and I remember scoring 6 in one game once in a 7-1 win, right? And I was expecting to have like heaps of praise lauded on me, and I went back into the dressing room and he went, "Yeah, let's see if you can do it on a cold winter's day in November," right? And that always stuck with me because I think that's exactly the same. You get these players that come over from warmer climates. They're great when the sun shines, and it gets a little bit trickier with the old climate, and you see a completely different complexion of the game. And I think the season changes. You've got blocks. I think you've got,
yeah,
and I think that has a massive effect on it. To be honest,
well,
and again, it changes again. At the end of the season when you get the April month coming in and it gets a little bit warmer.
Well, to be honest, though, a large percentage of the players in the Premier League are foreign. Okay, maybe not all of them are from warmer climates, but I'm not sure how true that is. I think it could have. I mean, does it just apply to foreign players? Maybe it also applies to some domestic players, don't you think?
Absolutely, it certainly used to apply to me. Yeah, absolutely. I hated playing in the rain and the cold. And
I love playing in the rain myself, but I think related to that point, and I think it's very rarely mentioned, is the pitch. Yeah. So of course these days we got different kinds of surfaces. I think also the length of the grass makes a difference as well. I thought the game on Sunday at Anfield, it seemed to me that the ball was holding up. It wasn't running as freely as it sometimes does. I think that's often true at Wembley. That's why I hate watching the Wembley games. The ball doesn't seem to skid off the surface. It seems to hold up, which I don't think is conducive to the kind of football I want to see. So some clubs do that deliberately.
Yeah.
Some clubs do that deliberately, and also last season, City had a problem with the pitch. I don't know whether it was COVID related or how the manpower had an effect on the manpower or anything, but the pitch last year was in a really bad state. But this year they seem to have sorted it out. But I just think the pitch can make a big difference in how a team plays.
Yeah, you're not telling me though that with these new boots that are like paper thin. I know when we used to play back in the day,
yeah,
the boots were quite thick, right?
Yeah.
And if you played on a cold Sunday morning,
yeah,
and you kick the ball,
yeah,
you'd feel it in your feet, right?
Yeah,
yeah, it'd be like kicking a block of ice, right?
A rock. Yeah, but it's like hitting a rock.
Yeah. So you're not telling me that, with these paper thin boots, that their feet aren't they cannot feel their feet. I mean, I don't know. I might be wrong.
Yeah, I think but then even the clothes, there's technological advances with the clothes, so they've probably got feet warmers and all sorts.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, probably socks are thermal insulated or something. But I do remember a Sprilla when he played for Newcastle. The minute August had finished, he'd have his long sleeve shirt with an undershirt, and then he'd have a pair of black tights on as well.
Yeah.
thermal tights or whatever, and gloves. Are you expecting him to rock up in an anorak one of these
Yeah,
days?
I think these days there are all kind of technological advances that put a stop to that. I think the other thing was it at City. I saw someplace. So the seats, the dugout at City, the home dugout has heating.
Yeah.
But is it at City or the away dugout doesn't? I saw. I'm not sure that's at City, but I was reading something about that. Yeah.
That wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. So and Barcelona are in dire straits. So I just want to on that point. So of
Real
course,
Madrid as well. Real Madrid lost to the Sheriff of Nottingham, didn't they?
yeah, that was a team we were trying to wonder where they were from. From Moldova, I think. So former Soviet Republic. So yeah, I mean that's a fantastic result. I think Sheriff played Everton a few years back, maybe in the UEFA Cup,
Right.
or Europa League, or whatever you want to call it. So yeah, they seem to win their league every year. Yeah, I mean that's a fantastic result. But let's see how they do by the end of the groups. But getting back to
maybe Spanish football in general is in a decline.
Well, basically they had Ronaldo, they had Messi, two of the best players in my lifetime, in my opinion. Not necessarily saying the best, but two of among the best that I've seen in my lifetime. So you lose Messi, you lose Ronaldo in his heyday, there's going to be a drop, in my opinion. And Real still seem to, they still have Modric and Kroos playing midfield. A lot of the old boys are still there. So I think that's a sign that they don't have the financial clout that they had before. Also, Koeman at Barcelona, his days are numbered, in my opinion. It's only a matter of time, and probably I suspect it's their financial situation that's preventing them from getting rid of him.
Yeah,
they can't afford to get rid of him. But just on that point, if we had FFP, financial fair play, being applied, how did FFP allow Barcelona to get into that situation?
Yeah, well,
to me, that just shows that what a farce, what a lie it was, in my opinion.
$1 million question, isn't it? If you excuse the irony in that.
And even now, you still see rumours, Barcelona are interested in such and such. How are they interested in such and such a player if they're in such a bad financial situation?
Same with Chelsea.
They got the same situation.
Well, they had all that transfer ban, didn't they, for ages?
Yeah.
But they still were showing interest in players, and you think, hang on,
yeah, that's right.
How can you be showing a bloody interest in a player if you can't actually sign them?
Yeah, right? That's right. Well, I think that shows some of the shenanigans that goes on clubs. I think it also tells you that what a load of bullshit the media are writing as well.
Yeah, and like I said to you earlier, money talks. No matter no matter what bans are in place or fair play rules are in place, whatever. If somebody waves a big enough pound sign or dollar sign or whatever, they always find a way. They always find a way.
Well, no, Messi's don't come along every day. So, Barcelona will probably enjoy some domestic success in the future, but and maybe even some European success again. But it's not going to be like what they've enjoyed over the last 20 years, in my opinion.
I think what worries me with the biggest clubs in the world, and I'm talking about the biggest clubs in every country, right, is, and I think we've touched on this a little bit in the past, is that they're suddenly going to have a wake-up call because they're all going to realise that, they do need fans.
Yeah, they do. I think.
But I was just going to say, I think that at the moment, the biggest clubs don't think they do. I think they can survive off sponsorship, off advertising, corporate stuff, all the rest of it. And when that's not there anymore, because your corporate sponsors or whatever are leaving you because your Messis have gone and your Ronaldos have gone, you're going to rely on the fans. And when the fans ain't coming,
well, I think this the European Super League idea. I think the reaction to that was their wake-up call. So even I said, well, Man City joined the European Super League, I won't be following them. So that was my reaction, and it was most Man City's fans' reaction as well. So I think that was their wake-up call. The owners obviously got too big for their boots, but Kevin Parker, he's the guy who runs the Man City Supporters Club, and he said they've got to realise, the owners, they own the clubs, but in the long term they're just custodians. Really, the clubs belong to the fans, but the owners don't, like you say, don't think that way.
No, they don't.
But I think that was a wake-up call. I think the summer showed them that actually how powerful the fans are.
But they're still going to underhandedly, dig for that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, they will be back.
Yeah, or go for something similar. I mean, I think that all that talk of the World Cup being every 2 years was almost to quiet that down a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is it like a distraction tactic, really?
Yeah, I mean, I see that UEFA have dropped their lawsuit against the Super League clubs that hadn't pulled out. So Real Madrid, Barcelona, and was it Inter Milan or Juventus? I think it was Juventus, but they dropped their lawsuit against. For the moment, it seems. So it seems to me that Super League isn't actually dead in the water. It's still there.
No, that's not dead. Nowhere near dead in the water.
Yeah, so it wouldn't surprise me. And I got to say, it seems, who was it? Was it Perez, the Real Madrid president? Did he say that actually it had been Man United and Liverpool that had instigated it?
Yeah.
To be honest, I think they've been responsible for a lot of the dirt on Man City over the last 10 years. So I'm not surprised at all. Who do
you think's been responsible for the dirt on Man City?
Well, I think a lot of the media dirt has come from the owners of Man United and Liverpool.
Really?
Yeah, in my opinion, yeah.
Yeah, I must admit, I'm not a fan of the Liverpool owners.
Yeah. So through the media and all that. So, but it seems to have died down a little bit. But anyway, yeah, I don't think that's dead in the water, but it was good to see the fans winning the day, in my opinion. Okay, maybe it's just a temporary reprieve, but I thought the fans showed their clout in the summer.
I think it's just a tip of the iceberg, and I can see it going the way of American football.
Well, that's what they want, but I mean,
I can see clubs like Liverpool, Man City, Man United, Chelsea. I can see them like almost becoming franchises, and I can see if the owners don't necessarily like what's happening in the region they are, they'll just up sticks and move to somewhere else in the country.
Yeah. But I think the government stepped in. Apparently, it's reported that somebody from the government actually phoned Man City and told them, we're going to bring in legislation if you're going to try and do this to stop it happening. So, I mean, if they allowed that to happen, it'd just tear out a lot of the social fabric of the country, in my opinion.
Yeah, what's left of it.
Yeah, not a lot, admittedly. Okay, so let's move on to the weekend then. So, of course, City played at Liverpool. said earlier, I thought City looked like they've matured, in my opinion. So they played Chelsea, Paris Saint-Germain, and Liverpool in the week, in three of those 3 games in a week, and they didn't win the 3 games, but I thought they looked pretty composed. Played a good game against Chelsea. Okay, they lost to Paris Saint-Germain, but they had their moments in that game, and then all's not lost. Then against Liverpool in the first half, City, I thought the first 10, 15 minutes, I thought, I don't like how City are playing. And then it's happened a lot with their games. They had the better of the rest of the first half, in my opinion, and should have been ahead. Phil Foden, he had 2 one-on-ones, and he delayed both. Alisson did a good job of smothering him. I thought maybe he should have, at least on one of them, just taken it first time. And also Kevin De Bruyne, he had a header. It was an Alan Clark diving header moment. If that had been Alan Clark, do you remember the diving header in is it 72 or 73 FA Cup final? 72, I think. 73, they lost, didn't they, to Sunderland. 72 was the win against Arsenal. You know, that diving header, David Coleman, 1-0. And I was just waiting for the net to bulge, and he got it. It was like an Alan Scanlon header. It was a rank bad header. And then you knew City were going to pay the price then in the second half. So Liverpool were much better, and they started getting the ball to Salah a lot. It looked to me like they targeted Cancelo. Cancelo is a very good attacking fullback, but defensively, as has been the case with all the City left backs under Guardiola, he's defensively fragile. So for the first one, he just sold himself. It was all or nothing, Cancelo. He sold himself. And Salah was away. And then Diaz, I think Diaz was caught between 2 stools maybe, so which allowed Mane to get a run on him.
That's the best I've seen Salah play for a while, I've got to say. But I think Liverpool missed Trent Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah, they did miss him.
Milner did an okay job, but you don't want to be putting a 30, 35, 36 or whatever he is guy at right back, I don't think. But,
I personally think he got away with it a bit. I think he was a bit lucky. As I said,
I think Sterling got away with it as well. But anyway, that's another thing.
Yeah, but on the tin, Tierney's just one of those referees that pisses me off, to be honest. You just know he's playing by the averages, playing the percentages. So
if you'd have said to me beforehand it'd be 2-2, I would have taken that.
Yeah, I think that's a good result for City. They've played away at Tottenham, Chelsea, and Liverpool now.
I think it's good for Liverpool that they keep their unbeaten record. I would have taken it, but having watched the game, I thought Liverpool threw it away. I thought they could have beaten Man City.
Oh yeah, they were leading twice. I think the game
they should have beaten them.
Well, I thought City had the better of the game overall. Not all through the game, but overall. But I thought it also showed the weakness of the City team, the lack of a striker. But then you got to say, would they have dominated, or I wouldn't say dominate, would they have had such a lot of so much of the game if they'd been playing a striker? So I guess you lose something if you're playing an out and out striker. So I think Guardiola likes to dominate the midfield and all that sort of stuff. But then you're losing something when it comes to putting the ball in the back of the net.
You look at that City team, though. I mean, every time I see them, I look at them and I think every single department, they've got a world-class player, with the exception of maybe Raheem Sterling. But anyway, they've got a world-class player. And you think, how the hell are teams expected to deal with that? Even Liverpool, they've got areas where you think he's not world class, right? But
Yeah,
City, everywhere, absolutely everywhere,
yeah,
and even a world class bench as well. It's like, Christ, how are you going to deal with that?
yeah. I mean, the thing about that is, of course, City have spent a lot of money. They got a lot of good players, but I personally think they're weak on the left side of the fence. I think Walker, okay, he's not perfect, but I think he's a solid right back. I think Diaz, he won, I can't remember which award it was, but he won at least one of the major awards for Player of the Year, because he's made a big difference. He's just made a big difference there in centre defence, and Laporte is reasserted himself on the left side of central defence. Yeah, Bernardo Silva, he had a bit of a dip, which seemed to coincide with that bad publicity he received. I think he also received a ban because of that message he sent to Mendy. And you've got to remember, Mendy's out now, although to be honest, he's been very underwhelming. But you've got to remember, Mendy's in court, he's in prison, believe it or not. So he's been a disastrous signing, to be honest. And then Foden, yeah, but they've got no striker. But the thing about that is, I keep getting told that City have got all these great players, and yet when the awards come up, a lot of those, when teams of the year and all that get selected, that all these supposedly great players are not in it. And I'm thinking, well, I mean, what's going on here?
Well, I'll tell you what I think. I think we spend far too much time talking about City and Liverpool.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Yeah, so Brentford went and done it again.
I mentioned Brentford. I mean, Brentford, they are on fire, aren't they? Brentford. And God, can you imagine being a Brentford fan?
They're fantastic. Yeah, I remember Cheltenham winning at Griffin Park to just no, they went down to Division 2. Cheltenham won at Griffin Park on the last day of the season. I actually think Brentford were already down. I might be wrong. Did they still have a chance then? They might have still had a chance, but actually Cheltenham won there. JJ Milligan scored, I remember, and Cheltenham stayed up.
In League One?
In League One, it must have been 2007, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right.
I think it was 2007.
Yeah, it's like, yeah. I mean, I've got a mate here in Portsmouth. He worked at Brentford for a while. He worked in the press department, whatever. And he's a good friend of mine. He's also a ref locally as well. And he can't believe it. He just can't believe it. He can't believe how they're doing. And I take my hat off to him. And they were knocking on the door for a couple of years, weren't they?
Yeah. I thought they'd blown it. I thought, maybe they're not going to get the chance again. But I think that just shows how good their model is. That they didn't succeed the last time, but they just came back. Yeah. I know Mark Warburton.
He's fantastic as well.
Yeah, Mark Warburton was there, wasn't he? So I remember when he was there, they had a lot of interesting ideas about how to operate.
So that was a massive surprise for them to turn over West Ham, particularly the way West Ham have been playing at home.
Yeah, I think also it just shows positive thinking. Brentford don't play kind of defensive model; they play an attacking model. I think that they're showing. Doesn't matter who they're playing, Liverpool or whoever, they're gonna just play. Try and play on the front foot. So,
and also Brighton punching above their weight, and I think as well another surprise team this season is Crystal Palace. They've done really well under Patrick Vieira.
Patrick Vieira, yeah. Let's just wait and see how things are shaping at the end of the season. But he seems to be. I personally had doubts. As I said, let's see what happens. But Yeah, I mean, I thought, 2-0 Leicester, 2-0 up at Palace. I thought that was a Leicester win, to be honest. I didn't think Palace would come back. That's a pretty bit of a hot pot, Sellers Park, isn't it, with those fans? I saw they're the noisiest fans in the league, I think.
It's very traditional, that one end as well. It's very sort of like, tin shack kind of place. Yeah.
I prefer those old grounds myself to the new stadiums. Stadiums.
Stadia, yeah. I agree.
No, but that's why I like Villa Park, Goodison Park, but also just still an attachment to your roots as well. I just love it. To be honest, I miss Main Road, to be honest.
Yeah.
I'd love City to still be playing at Main Road.
Yeah, I experienced the Kippax once. I went up there for a midweek game.
Yeah.
Conceded absolutely destroyed Leicester City in an FA Cup.
Yeah.
Absolutely destroyed them. I think you might have been with me. Did you come with me?
I went to Main Road, but I don't remember being with you. But I
went up with John Ross. Didn't know you come.
Oh yeah, I went with you and John Ross, but I think that was a Cheltenham game. I don't think it was a
No. It was no. Well, I mean, John drove. We went up to
right. Yeah. I don't remember being driven by him anywhere. So yeah.
5-1, I think it was.
Yeah, I remember actually being with John Ursel. We went to see Liverpool play Sheffield Wednesday at Anfield. We were sat or stood? 88. That would have been sitting by then, I guess. So in the old cop, and they beat Sheffield. That was the Aldridge, Beardsley, Barnes triumvirate. So Trident or whatever. So they won 5-0. Dalglish, I guess, was the boss. Was he the boss there, the late 80s? When they won the John Aldridge, that kind of era. So they won 5-0, and it was the Christmas period? I think it might have been even on Boxing Day. I can't remember. And then it was the lunchtime kickoff, and then we went down to Main Road, and City were playing Swindon, I think.
Oh my God!
Was it 2-0, 2-1? I can't remember. Did we try and fit in an even later game? I can't remember. I don't think that was
probably did.
Yeah. So now we got a bloody 2-week break for the Premier League games. Another 2-week break. These really do my head in, to be honest. How do you feel about that, or doesn't it bother you? I guess Cheltenham have no game because of the Portsmouth situation.
Personally, I'm glad it's doing us a favour. I think because like I said earlier, Portsmouth beat Sunderland 4-0. The game before that, Sunderland beat Cheltenham 5-0.
Yeah, just going through the leaders in the other leagues. Bournemouth Championship leaders, Coventry third. Wow, it's been a long time. I'm glad to see them. I got a bit of a soft spot for them, to be honest.
Oh, right, they're back at the Rico as well.
So I had some of my relations lived, or some of them still live in Coventry. So I remember going to the old Highfield Road to see a horrible 0-0 against Leicester. A West Midlands versus East Midlands derby.
I very nearly supported Coventry when I was a kid, and I was like choosing my team. I was looking through, and it was when they had the sky blue Admiral kit with the.
I had it. I had the Sabutio team.
Yeah, I've still got it.
Ian Wallace.
Yeah, and the away kit was chocolate brown, wasn't it?
Oh, I don't remember that one. Bloody hell.
It was. Yeah, God, it was chocolate. You need to look it up. Right? Look up the Coventry City chocolate brown away kit.
Sounds horrible. Sounds horrible.
I
remember the stripes going down. I think Wales had a similar kit, didn't they? The stripe going down there.
I'm painting one at the moment, actually.
Wow. Was it?
I'm painting the Wales away kit.
It was Admiral, was it? Admiral,
yeah.
Not Umbro, Admiral.
Yeah. Give me 2 seconds. In true Blue Peter fashion, there's one I prepared earlier.
Wow, Leighton James.
It actually is as well, number 6.
Well,
How did
bloody
you
hell.
know that? How did you know that?
No, I'm just calling a name, a classic Wales player.
So in that season, or the seasons they had that, they also had an away kit which was all yellow with green stripe and a red in between.
Well, I
And
don't remember. I don't remember that one.
Well, they only wore it twice.
Wow.
They wore it twice. Once was against Czechoslovakia in a World Cup qualifier, which they won 1-0. And the other one was Wales's biggest ever win, which was 7-0 or 7-1 against Malta. All right. But they wore the change strip, even though they were playing at Wrexham. And yeah, Subbuteo even produced that kit. Can you believe it? Even though they only wore it twice. So I've been commissioned to paint the away kit. Anyway, that's totally digressing. But yeah, the Coventry away kit for that Admiral kit, because there was lots of teams that had that similar design. So the away kit was chocolate brown. Look it up, you won't believe it. There's a classic picture of Ian Wallace with his big blonde mop of hair with a brown kit. It's horrendous. But yeah, I love that sky blue kit, and that's why I nearly became a Coventry fan. But I didn't. I went to Liverpool. So
yeah, we talked about Wigan Division 1 leaders, Division 2 Forest Green. They've opened up.
Yeah, running away with it, mate.
Yeah. They've been hanging around a few seasons, threatening, haven't they, to go up? Grimsby National League leaders. You look down some of the teams there. You got Halifax, Notts County, some teams who were in the Football League for a long time, trying to get back.
Yeah.
Dartford leaders. I talked about those a few weeks ago. They're leaders of National League South. And Fylde, I don't know a lot about Fylde. They're leaders of Division North, the National League North.
Yeah.
So I know where they are. I mean, they're up around Morecambe, aren't they? Around that area. So
yeah, that's all. Is it in Blackpool way, isn't it?
Yeah. So I don't really know a lot about them. Do you know anything about Fylde?
Didn't they win or get to the final of the FA Trophy recently?
I don't really know.
Let me see if I can look that up briefly. Fylde. AFC Fylde, isn't it?
I think it is.
AFC Fylde. How you doing for time, mate?
Yeah, after this, we just go into our left-sided central defender and call it a day.
Yeah, sure. AFC Fylde. Football team of the Fylde Coast. They're branded as. The hell? I've got a feeling they won something recently. So yeah, Professional Football Association club, based in Fylde, Lancashire, competes in the National League North 6th tier of English football. Hang on. Looking for honours. Horrible kit, mine. Anyway. Oh yeah, the Vars. They won the FA Vars. That's what it was in 2007, and they reached the Conference National by 2017, and the Football League. Oh, sorry, no, ignore me. Oh, that's right. Yeah, FA. They lost in the 2019 FA Trophy final.
Wow. So they look like they're a club on the up.
No, they didn't. They beat Leyton Orient. Sorry, they beat Leyton Orient in 2019 in the FA Trophy final.
Wow.
So they're the only club to win the FA Vars and the FA Trophy.
Wow. Yeah, they look like they're on the up there.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, just to mention as well, the weekend it was the second qualifying round of the FA Cup. Although, sorry to say, I didn't see who won.
You're doing like a sort of a virtual road to Wembley then, because whoever beat Poole Town, you're following them in the next round, sort of thing.
Yeah, well, it was Chippenham, wasn't it? So I don't know how Chippenham got on. Let's see how they got on. I can't even remember who Chippenham were playing. So look.
Chippenham Town. I remember them doing Cheltenham 3-0 once.
It looks like they lost to Hastings. So
right.
Hastings is the next team we'll keep an eye on.
Right, fair enough.
So yeah, they lost to Hastings. So let's keep an eye on Hastings. I remember back in the day, Cheltenham playing in the Hastings and Cheltenham were in the same league. Was that probably Southern Premier, I guess?
Yeah, I remember that.
Although I've never been to Hastings. Okay, before I go to work, Jace. So have you thought about a left-sided central defender? Let's just recap. So your goalkeeper is Ray Clements.
Yeah.
Your right back is Daniel Passarella.
Yeah.
Your left back is Roberto Carlos.
Yeah.
Your right-sided central defender is, who was it?
I said Bertoni, didn't I?
Was it Bertoni?
But yeah, from Argentina.
Okay, and then let's go through mine. So I had Neville Southall in goal, right back Cafu, left back Maldini, central defender is Desai. So who's your left-sided centre back?
Well, I think you talked me out of Bertoni in the end, and I went for Kroll, I think.
Oh yeah, you went to Ruud Krol. That's right.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go for Alan Hansen.
Right. Okay, I can see the Liverpool connection there.
It's not necessarily a Liverpool connection, but I don't think I could have an all-time favourite back four without Alan Hansen in it, because for me, he was the best central defender I ever saw play live.
Yeah, he was
possibly the exception of Chris Banks, I have to say. But,
he was a great player.
Although he didn't really reflect that in the Scotland shirt, unfortunately.
Well, we talked about this before with Phil Neal and maybe Phil Thompson, a few others. When they played for their national teams, they didn't seem to replicate that stature for the national teams that they showed when they were playing for their club teams.
Yeah.
Is that also down to the management of those respective teams as well, or the style of play as well, maybe?
I think you're right. I think, some of those players, some of those managers, like Bob Paisley, for example, would always get the best out of players. I remember, Joey Jones used to look world class playing for Liverpool.
Yeah.
Look world class playing for Wales. To
be fair. Yeah.
Used to look gangly and awkward, but there it is.
Yeah. So your left-sided central, Alan Hansen. So I remember when Justin Fashanu scored that goal of the season, and I think Hansen was the guy who was marking Fashanu, and I always remember Alan Hansen just saying, "Yeah, goals like that, you've just got to appreciate them and accept there's not a lot you can do about it, and it's going to happen sometimes, So you've got to look at things, the overall picture." So the overall picture was he was a very successful player and a very successful team. Yeah. I think he's one of those playmaking central defenders, not to say he couldn't tackle. For example, I chose Desai as my right-sided defender, based mostly on his defending. So I think that's the thing, isn't it? I was talking about Cancelo for City. He's very good in an attacking sense, but defensively, he's a bit suspect in my opinion. So for my left-sided central defender, I was trying to weigh things up. Should I go for an aggressive guy or a footballing guy? And also then there's this left-sided, right-sided thing. So maybe I've got two right-sided central defender, and he wasn't always what you might call a central defender. You could play sweeper, central, midfield. I haven't had a lot of time to think about it, but I'm just going to go for Beckenbauer, basically. So
I knew you were going to say Beckenbauer. Beckenbauer was one of my thoughts as well. But if I was going to pick Beckenbauer, I'd be picking him as a sort of either a defensive midfielder or a sweeper type role. I would have gone for. But yeah, Beckenbauer.
I think he was in a similar mold to Hansen, though. To be honest, very cultured. I'm not sure about on the tackling side of things. But I was
I
just
think
looking at.
I think he was better. I think he was better than Hansen, even though I picked Hansen. I
Yeah.
think he was far better than Hansen. You know,
I was just looking.
you can't even put him in the same crisp packet. I don't think.
Yeah, I was just looking at some clips of him, and he just didn't have so much time on the ball, and you could tell he was intelligent.
Yeah.
You just knew. The other thing you got to say, he is a spitting image of Chris Bignall, isn't he? Franz Beckenbauer, don't you think?
He was. He's got a bit of Michael Keaton about him as well.
Yeah, I think he looks like Chris Bignall.
Chris has changed a lot over the years.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Anyway, Jace, any thoughts on this international break? Cheltenham. I don't know who Cheltenham got. I guess if they got an away or a home game coming up.
Portsmouth, right?
Oh, right, Portsmouth away.
Yeah, but it's been called off.
Oh, right, it's been called off. Yeah, so we got the international games. I'm not that excited about it, to be honest, but it's a World Cup qualifying, I guess. So
Cheltenham have got Exeter tomorrow night again in the Papa John's rubbish, but I think they'll probably put the kids out.
Right.
To be honest.
Yeah. So it might be just a good time to have a break for Cheltenham, to be honest.
Yeah, who have England got on the international break?
I don't even know, to be honest, but they're in a pretty good position, I think, at the moment. So 2021. So I guess the World Cup must be next year, Christmas. So I was reading that the season's going to have, is it a 3-week break or a 4-week break? And then they're going to finish later, and the FA Cup's going to be in June, is it? I think.
Yeah, I think so. Well, it's not far off that now, is it? To be fair.
Yeah, that'd be interesting for how this World Cup in Qatar goes, and whether all the things that we were told why it was a bad idea are actually going to be true or not.
I've got mixed feelings about it.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see how it goes. Anyway, let's call it a day there, Jace, and see you for the next one.
All right, mate. Always a pleasure.
Okay.
See you next week.
Yeah, have a good week.
And you, mate.